Welcome, 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 everyone, and good evening. Welcome to a new edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional who happens to have a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And tonight, I'm happy to bring to you on this very first day of Black History Month, and this is totally coincidental, by the way, two women who have made history in their own right by becoming the first Black female mayors of their towns in the history of North Carolina. Even in this most peculiar political climate, as North Carolina is the only state in our union that does not have a budget, and the madness that is going on in Washington, D.C., the people of their towns of Carborough, North Carolina, and Zebulon, North Carolina, chose them to lead their local government forward. Their constituents didn't select them because of any DEI or affirmative action or any such thing. They were chosen decisively because of their leadership and their competencies. So without further ado, let me introduce you to these women leaders. First up, I have Mayor Barbara Foushee. Barbara Foushee is the mayor of Carborough, North Carolina. She is the first Black woman for the town as the town's mayor in its history, and the second Black person to serve in that capacity. Prior to becoming mayor, Barbara was elected in 2017 in a municipal election on the Carborough Town Council. And she remained in that position until she was elected as their mayor in 2023. She is a dedicated public servant, having served in numerous boards. We'd be here all day if I listed all of them. She's served on the Carborough Human Services Advisory Board, the Orange Water and Sewer Authority Board of Directors, the Affordable Housing Advisory Commission, and so many others. Her community service extends to her sorority and mine as past president of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority, Eta Phi Zeta graduate chapter. She's also served as co-chair of the Community Action and Political Awareness Ministry at First Baptist Church in Chapel Hill. She has served in leadership in the Chapel Hill Carborough NAACP. And during the daytime hours, if you can believe there's any daytime hours left in her busy schedule, Barbara is the senior technologist in a molecular oncology laboratory in Research Triangle Park, and has spent her career working in clinical laboratory services. Welcome back to the show, Mayor Barbara Foushee.
Hello, Pam. Hello, and I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to be on the show this evening. As you said, hey, we're all snowed in. All right, we're all snowed in. We're warm and cozy, and so this is a great opportunity to spend some time with you. Thank you.
Wonderful. And I see we've got we got some people saying hi to us. I'm gonna put all of those up after I introduce our next guest. Next, I have Mayor Jessica Harrison. She too is a dedicated public servant and civic leader. Jessica was appointed to the Board of Commissioners in Zebulon, North Carolina in February 2022 and was subsequently elected by her community in November 2023 as a commissioner. In November 2025, she moves quick, y'all. She moves quick. She then won the mayoral race in Zebulon, becoming the first Black woman in their history to serve the town in that capacity. Jessica has been recognized for her strategic leadership, commitment to inclusive governance, and advocacy for policies that strengthen families, for economic development and youth engagement. Beyond her local government role, Jessica has served as regional director for the National Black Caucus of local elected officials and as Assistant Secretary for the North Carolina Black elected municipal officials, demonstrating her influence at both the state and national levels. Jessica is an entrepreneur, founder of She Is Me LLC, of which she helps women overcome stereotypes to reach their full potential. She and her husband operate the Harrison Institute, a nonprofit leadership development firm. Jessica is the proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. You see a thing going on here. She is a member of the Franklin County chapter, and she also serves, should have mentioned this even first before that, serves as care pastor along with her husband at Life Worship Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to the show, Mayor Jessica Harrison.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Hey, Soror Mayor.
Hey, Soror Mayor.
Okay, and Noemi Lujan, she's a soror. And Loretta Thomas Walker, she's a soror.
Okay.
And Latrice Davis. Latrice is a fierce politico in New York City. Mm-hmm. Elise is a soror. Katrina is our soror. Okay. And Dawn Daly Mack, she is one of our great advocates and nurses, health practitioners in rural North Carolina. And I don't know who this is, but good evening to you, Deb Love, 1960.
That's right. My aunt. Hello, she's watching.
Okay. All right. Hey, Auntie. All right. Okay, ladies. So let's get into this. Okay, first I'm going to start with you, Mayor Foushee. Tell us about the town of Carrboro, its size, demographics, and other little details that you want us to know.
So the town of Carrboro is about 21,000 people. We're very densely populated. 6.4 square miles is the town of Carrboro. Our community or town pillars are race equity and climate change, sustainability. And the demographics are roughly 68% white, 10% Black, which I may be off a percent here or there. And the Latino population maybe 8. And then, you have, the Asian population, Burmese, the percentages go down a little bit there. But we're a very diverse community, and more diverse in ways other than race and ethnicity. We're very close to, right across the railroad tracks from Chapel Hill, which we know is the home of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And so we do have students that live in our community, undergraduate, graduate, and professional students, as well as staff and faculty that may work at the university or at the hospital. And so it's an interesting place, an interesting community. We have a very engaged community. Certainly we love arts. We love our arts. We love music, poetry. We're a little fun. We got a little funky vibe going on here in Carrboro. And so that's our community. And so I just invite folks to come and visit. We also have a very popular farmers market on Saturday mornings. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. And Cat's Cradle. Don't forget about Cat's Cradle with the music.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Carrboro in a nutshell. There's a lot more, but
I'm sure. I know. I'm
I'll
sure.
pass off to my soror mayor so she can talk a little bit about Zebulon.
Yes. So, Mayor Harrison, tell us about Zebulon, North Carolina. I don't know much about Zebulon at all.
Shame on you, Pam. Shame on you.
And I'm telling the truth.
Well, Zebulon is the second fastest growing municipality in North Carolina.
Really?
So you should definitely know about Zebulon.
It's a boom town.
It is.
Oh.
We are growing. We are growing. You know, I am a native of Zebulon, so I've been here pretty much my entire life, except for when I left for college and went all the way down the road to Rocky Mount, which is about 45 minutes away for college. But, you know, Zebulon is a growing community. We are knocking right on the 15,000 population. Our demographics are pretty equal across the board, from African American, Caucasian American, Hispanic population, with
Really?
African American population being a slightly higher than all other cultures and ethnicities in our area.
Wow. Are you
Yes.
serious?
I am serious.
Now, see, I had a whole different mindset about it.
Well, you know, hot mic. So
Be careful with that mic. Yes, Sarah, Mayor.
yes. So, but you know, honestly and truly, it has grown so much and developed and just changed so much over the years that it's probably why you're like, what? You know, Zebulon is, you know, right here. We're on the cusp of so much opportunity right now. We recently, while our, you know, the Mudcats did leave Zebulon, we are now, our big 5-county stadium is now owned by Capital Broadcasting Company. You know, they're owners of the Durham Bulls. So we're really excited to have them in our community. We're also home of GSK, you know, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies. And so we have a lot of opportunity. We recently hired a new town manager that we are excited for her to come on board. And we're just we're rolling. We have a new board, a new amazing leadership team. I always brag on my board. They push me, they pull me now, but their passion and their love for their community and what they do, I wouldn't be able to do what I do without an incredible board. And so I always have to shout them out. Shout out to Mayor Pro Tem Miles, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Baxter, Commissioner Roa, Commissioner Adams. They are watching, so make sure I give my team their shout outs. And so that's Zebulon. We're growing. We are being strategic about our economic growth, our residential growth, and we're just here, you know, to make sure everybody in the world knows who Zebulon is.
Okay. Wow. You know what? I tell you, I learned so much doing this show, and you have totally blown my mindset about Zebulon. You really have. You really have. So, Mayor Foushee, how in the world did you get from doing molecular oncology science, being in the lab, to deciding to get involved with politics?
Oh boy, that story. So, as you read a little bit of my bio earlier, I've always been really involved in the community with various organizations and, you know, different activism efforts, and I've lended my voice to many causes across our community and across the county, Orange County. So there was a council member, African American female, who had a life change, and she invited me to coffee. And you know, she asked me if I would consider running because the life change was going to take her across the country. And she asked me if I would consider running, and I was like, "Who, me?" I said, I mean, I like what I'm doing, you know, out in the community, right? This elected thing, you know, it's a little bit different. She was like, "You'd be great at it." She said, I you know, I would help you campaign, get your campaign started, you know. And so after that conversation, of course, I came home, you know, and talked it over with my husband, who is a former elected official in the town of Carborough. And, you know, he was looking at me. He was like, "Well, why not?" And I was like, "Say what now?" You know, so, you know, it was off to the races in 2017. I ran my first campaign, was a very successful campaign, ran for re-election in what would it be 2021 during COVID, was successful again, and ran my first mayor's race in 2023, you know, which is pretty great. Elected as the first Black woman mayor for the town of Carborough. And what I'll say about that, you know, people often talk about it. I don't talk about it because I look in the mirror and see who I am every day. So I don't talk about it. I just say I don't want to be the last.
Right.
Don't let me be the last one. And of course, I was reelected in the municipal election in November of last year. So long story short, it was not on my bucket list, but it really gave me a deeper understanding about how local politics work,
Mm-hmm.
how your community is laid out,
Mm-hmm.
how we get to these decisions, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape. And sometimes community members think that we can do things that we actually cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a steep learning curve, and also some surprises along the way. And one thing that I am very concerned about on this elected journey is the erosion of municipal authority from our North Carolina General Assembly. I'm really concerned about that. And there's every now and then, something will happen and it's just be like, oh, okay, so we no longer can do that, or we're not in charge of that, or some ordinance will change. So, as local elected officials, we do follow the statutes, the North Carolina General Statutes, and that's your North Carolina General Assembly that's governing all that. But I digress, from that. I've told you my story, so let's go to Sarah Mayor Harrison, because I was getting ready to go somewhere else.
I was tagging you in. I was like, come on, Sora, come on back. Come on back.
I was going way out there. She knew it too. I was like, let me come on back.
I saw it in her eyes. Listen, I've spent enough time with my soror that I could tell it was coming. It was coming. But I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for digressing. See, it's all about growth in this profession. Thank you for that. I will say, as we talk about, General Assembly and the erosion of our municipal impact, I am so fortunate and grateful that our legislator that covers Zebulon was the former mayor. He was a former mayor. And so he understands the impact of local government and what it takes to make the decisions we make. So shout out to my friend and mentor and frat, James Robertson.
Okay.
39.
I didn't know he was our frat.
He is. He is. Right. He's a great guy. He has mentored me. He actually is. It's so funny because this question that you're asking, I met James probably, many years ago when I was still in higher ed. I was a higher ed professional before coming into politics. And I remember the university that I worked at had a partnership with his school. And so I was there and we started talking and he was telling me I'm the mayor of Knightdale. And I was like, what? And he said, we need more women in politics. And I was like, all right, hope you have a great day. See you later. And quickly left his office. Okay.
Right.
Never had that conversation again. Did not follow up. Did not want to speak to him anymore on that topic. Fast forward to 2 or 3 years later, I was sitting on my mom's front porch, and my mom lives, where the historic Red Line. She used to live on the Red Line in our community, right? And so there was this guy. Shout out to the guy. He'll hear his name in a second. And he was walking down the road and he was campaigning. And I looked and I was like, what is this? Like, he over here across the tracks walking down the road. And I'm like, sir, what's going on? But when I started talking to him, his Commissioner Miles, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm running for commissioner. And I was like, what is that? Now, understand, this was in 2021. Okay. I was like, what is the commissioner? I have no idea what you're talking about. I've seen it before, seen some pictures, but cool, whatever. And so he was like, I'm running. He ended up winning. And when he won, I was like, congratulations. But he explained to me what it was. And maybe like 2 weeks later, I'll never forget, it was December 17th of 2021. I know the date. He sent me an email and he said, hey, our mayor was elected. And so there's an open seat on our council. You should apply. There's an application process going on out, and we're going to be making an appointment. You should apply. Ladies, let me tell you something. I don't know if I have ever filled out an application so quick, but I was just like, let me just do it because, cool. Put some thought into it, but I just filled it out. Fast forward, 6 applicants came up for the appointment. 2 of them were nominated. there was a two-way tie. The mayor broke the tie, and I won the seat. And I was, that's literally how it happened. And I will never forget. I remember just being like, wow, this just happened. And so it was just an incredible opportunity for me to come and have a seat at the table. As you know, Sora said, being at the table gives me the opportunity to educate some of us, or those of us who've never really been invited to the table. And so I remember being in just kind of overwhelmed and thinking like, what have I gotten myself into? Like, this is crazy. And I was feeling so anxious. And people kept, saying, oh, you're going to be fine. You're going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, but you're going to be okay. And I remember I started feeling it. I was like, okay, I'm in over my head. I will never forget the day. Soror, you may or may not remember this, but I'll never forget the day I walked into a room. There was a conference in Wilmington, and I walked into this room, and everybody in the room looked like me, and they were all elected officials. And in that moment, something settled in me. I walked into the North Carolina Black elected municipal officials meeting, my first time being at a conference. And when I walked in that room, in that moment, I was like, no, I can do this. No, I can do this. And so the next time someone said to me, it's all right, you're going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, I said, but you know what? At least I won't be dehydrated. And no one has said that to me since.
Yeah.
So you really got into it literally by accident.
Yes, I mean, I just all the time. Yeah, I stumbled
into it. Into it. Yeah. I'm gonna, there's a deep question in the chat, but I'm gonna go on to my next question, and then we'll pick that one up in a minute. Okay, so even though both of you are relatively new at your job, Mayor Foushee, you're on your second 2-year term. Do you all, and then of course you, Jessica, this is your first term. Do you all have any potential proteges in the making, or any people that you are eyeballing and saying, you know what, that person, male or female, that person should think about public service in politics, or somebody that you even think of, well, maybe I might mentor them or something? And I'm asking this question because what we see on the national level, when you see Eleanor Norton Holmes, I think that's her proper name, 88 years old, running for re-election, and then she pulls it back and realizes, I'm like, I love her, but why even put it out there? Where is her protege? Where are the proteges that she would have had mentoring along and somebody to take her place? You see what I'm saying? And I guess I want us to look, all Black elected officials, all women, whatever, to think that way. Think of who you're gonna bring up with you. You got any thoughts about that, Barbara? Any thoughts?
Go ahead, Mary Harrison.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, for me, there is not one particular person. My goal is to mentor and be inspiration for every little Black and brown girl that wants to be a leader, that wants to, I have a daughter. My daughter is 8. And so my goal is to ensure that she knows it's possible. I am extremely big on ensuring that our youth and especially our youth that are in underserved, low income level in the demographics, or in those parts of the community, or any community, I want those girls to know that they can do it, that you can overcome, that you can be a leader in the same community that made or broke you, whichever, but my goal is to ensure that no matter where they come from, that they know that they can do it. And so I don't have any one particular person or two particular people. I have a whole lot of them that my goal is to bring them up so that they know that they can lead in their community.
What about you, Barbara? You thought, is there anybody you've been looking at or eyeing? You don't have to say their name or anything, but if you is that something that you think about on the regular, like, who else?
Almost constantly. Yeah, almost constantly. I'm headed towards a decade of elected service, and it was never intended for me to do this forever. There will come a time when I will pull back, and I won't run. I'll just make the decision not to run. But there is someone that I've been talking to, about potentially running. I don't know if it would be for the mayor's seat. It might be, a council seat. My sorrow mayor, Harrison, great minds think alike. Our service is, wrapped up in representation. It's wrapped up in inspiration. It's wrapped up in motivation. Because we weren't always at the table.
Right. That's right.
Because you still have folks that say, "Oh, you're the mayor?" Yes. Yes, I'm she. How you doing? Oh, okay. It's good to meet you. It's that kind of, and that's why I just say it's okay that I'm the first, but please don't let me be the last. Now, the elected role is not for everyone. It's a different kind of arena. It's there's some strategy there. There's relationship building there. There's a lot that goes along with it. There's networking there, which is how me and Sarah Mayor Harrison met up. I believe we met up at a BMO summer conference, I think, for the first time. And, I always get excited when I with another Zeta. It was like, Sarah! I mean, this is what it is. But I don't want to digress again, but I'm just, as Sarah Mayor Harrison was saying about her council, I'm very proud of the council that I serve on. It's probably as diverse as it's ever been. You have 2 African Americans, you have 2 openly gay elected officials, and you have 2 Latina elected officials. And so, that diversity really matters, right? As far as, the train of thought about community issues, the connections in the community. Lived experience, moral compass. I mean, it's a very long list of why diversity is so important on local governing boards. I've always said, your local governing board should reflect the diversity of the community that, that they serve. I just don't, the homogeneous boards, I know that there are some, I am not criticizing, but I will say that my own personal belief is that the diverse board is absolutely.
She froze up a little bit.
The way to go.
Okay, you froze up a little bit. The block froze up a little bit there. Something. Okay, Barbara, you there? Okay.
That's okay. That's what Zetas do. We break the internet. Oh my goodness.
Are we back?
Not quite, Soror.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Well, listen, there was a question in the chat that is very interesting. It's kind of, I think it might be a little bit controversial. There she is. She's moving again. Barbara, you had froze up for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I was done. Maybe that was a signal I was talking too long. Go
ahead. Nah. Okay. This question from Sincere. Since I'm here, 1646. What are you all thoughts on North Carolina Dem chairwoman Anderson Clayton? She's been one of my great guests. Withholding access to vote builder from state reps who oppose Governor Stein on any veto.
So just for context, Vote Builder
is
Vote Builder is it's like a software that elected officials can use during election or just, during any kind of community thing, but typically when you're running a campaign. What I will say about that question is, I would want to know what are her reasons, what are the solid reasons that she had before I was able to answer that question or comment on it. I haven't followed that as much, and so I will withhold from responding, but just so everyone knows what Vote Builder is, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Sarah Mayer. So I used Vote Builder recently for my campaign, but it was primarily used by our GOTV team to cut turf and for canvassing purposes to reach voters with Team Fushi's message. So I don't know much about this either. So withholding access to Vote Builder from state reps who opposed Governor Stein on any vetoes. So I do know there's a monetary value associated with Vote Builder.
Uh-huh.
And I know Democratic candidates, I know have had access to it for free. Those are the things that I know about Vote Builder. And so I don't even begin to know why Chairwoman Clayton would withhold access, to Vote Builder from state reps who oppose Governor Stein on any veto. So I would not feel comfortable speaking on that until I would know more.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. What I had another question. Oh, okay. Here it is. Although both of you have served on council, Mayor Fushi and Mayor Harrison, you served as a commissioner. Are there any surprises once you became mayor? Like the air shifted, the wind blew, and something happened, and it's like you just the other day. What happened?
Did you see how both of us like fell out for a second? Like,
we know.
We both screamed a little bit.
Oh, sorry, Mayor Harrison, you want to pop off, or you want me to? It doesn't matter.
Well, the question was, what was the question?
I know.
It flushed me. I'm flushed.
The question, what had happened was, the question was, after you guys, you had been, Mayor Fushi had been in town council. You had been as a county commissioner for your town commissioner. After you shifted and became mayor, did the air become rare up there as mayor? What had happened? What was the surprise? What happened? Y'all, I just laughed. What? Something must have.
Oh my! You have to go ahead, Mayor.
I don't even really. I will. Yes, it changed. It changed in a big way. Let me say this: coming from council to mayor is a learning curve for one. People. So in our municipality, the mayor doesn't vote unless we're breaking a tie or something like that. And so a lot of times you have this this narrative that, oh, the mayor isn't that important because they don't vote. Let me tell you something. If you are a mayor that's actively advocating and getting your community out there, a mayor or a leader that wants to ensure that you're bringing the right resources at the right time to your community, then a mayor's role is essential. It is extremely important. I'm making it my business to sit down with every single state, local, national, county representative that represents Zebulon, because I want them to know that Zebulon is at the table, that there are things that we need, that I want to build our partnership. And so being a mayor, honestly, someone commented and said it knocked the wind out of us. It really will kind of knock the wind out of you at first, and then you get to the point where you understand that it balances out, and you understand boundaries, you understand, the requests, because so our mayor said earlier, sometimes you get a lot of questions or a lot of things that we really have no control over. Like, and I think the majority, honestly, a lot of my week is responding to citizens, pointing them into the right direction, pointing them to the right resources, because it's something that we don't oversee, you know, we don't do. And so pointing people to the right resources is one of the biggest things that I do. And that's why I believe that partnership is one of the most important things that a mayor can do, is build partnerships across the globe, honestly, because that's the biggest way that we can help our residents and our citizens is by providing them with the right resources.
What do you feel, Mayor Foushee?
Yeah, so I concur with what Sarah Mayor Harrison was saying, particularly as it relates to the information highway aspect of the mayor's seat. I did a lot of it also when I was a council member. So the information highway is really important, but so is the relationship building, the community partnerships, kind of knowing who to go to talk to when you want to get something accomplished, So I view, my role as really big in relationship building, whether I talk or think the same way as the person that I might be speaking with is irrelevant. I think, there certainly is opportunity to learn something from everyone that you run across, no matter how they're, approaching you. So I'm in my second term as the mayor for the town of Carborough. And I think time commitment, boundary setting, things of that nature have been really critical for me, because I do work a full-time job out in RTP. The mayor's job is all the time. So, might get a phone call during the day when I'm at the bench working, right? I might get
I was going to ask you about that.
Some kind of request. But, most of the time when folks are emailing you, it really probably is not anything absolutely urgent. I did want to, in this Black History Month and moment, I did want to lift up our city manager, Ms. Patrice Toney, who is the first African-American female mayor for the town of Carborough, and how important her role is, not only for implementing council's policies, but she also helps each one of us individually for whatever we might need. She understands.
What's her role again? What's her title? She's a town manager. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And so her role is just really important. We do run a council manager form of government. And unlike Sarah Mayor Harrison, I'm a voting mayor. I'm not a tiebreaker mayor. I vote on everything that comes across the dais.
Wow.
Every issue. Yeah. And so the mayor of Hillsborough, Mark Bell, he's also a tiebreaker mayor. So, we have mayors that are voting mayors, and then we have mayors that are tiebreaker mayors.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I could not do any of this alone. It is sometimes it's a lonely position, right? It's a lonely position. Sometimes it's a position of neutrality, depending on what's happening. Sitting back at council meetings, making sure your colleagues get a chance to talk and not stepping out in front of them with whatever you may be thinking is always a really big thing for me. I'm usually the last one to comment on whatever is happening, and I don't want to tip the scale in the seat as the mayor. So it's a lot. It really is. It's time consuming. The duties are many. Let's not talk about all the events.
Yeah.
Community events as well as town events, speaking engagements. Mayors are usually in high demand, and best believe your microphone is always hot.
Always hot.
It's always hot.
Always hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hot.
Very true.
Yeah. Stephen Valentine is a commissioner of Durham County. And so he's saying in here, I will check into why Anderson exercised this type of discretion. And then since I'm here, replied back. A little more context. Context is Anderson Clayton is using it as a punitive measure against Dems who have taken a stance for their constituents that may go against the larger party line.
Yeah, that's that's what I kind of was thinking in the backdrop, that maybe that was the reason that that Chair Clayton may be exercising, I guess, obviously the right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm not going to speak on that anymore because I don't know enough about it. But
right.
this political landscape,
Mm-hmm.
is something that we can all speak on, in a very general way. And
Mm-hmm.
so the political landscape, sometimes it calls for us to do things differently, right? Because like
Yes,
this old stuff is not working. I'm gonna
that's
pop
right.
up over here and give them a new game. I
Yep.
mean, you know what I'm saying? So when I saw that, I was just like, oh, I said that's interesting, but different times call for us to react and
Right.
respond differently, right? And this is not normal times,
No,
that we are living in. So
absolutely not. And I can say that if anyone, since I'm here, if you would look at my listing of videos, check out her video where I had her as a guest. And
I saw the whole thing.
yeah, and you could pretty much feel her vibe about thinking, she's definitely an out of the box thinker. And
Yes.
she's definitely, I would say, being much more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And she's doing like I would say she's doing like a Nancy Pelosi move.
Mm.
Like, look,
Nancy Pelosi.
let me get y'all all in information. That's just me. That's what Pam said. They didn't say that. Pam said that. That's my personal opinion.
Right, Sarah Mayer. Right, Sarah Mayer. But it's just a different political landscape, and we have to kind of govern ourselves accordingly. And I think it just makes people, move differently and think differently, and just looking for ways to just kind of get ahead, right?
Right. Right.
So that's the kind of vibe that I'm feeling, from people different
Yeah.
ways. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So listen, as Black women in political leadership, what are your concerns, your goals, and desires for those women who come behind you?
So I would say for me and my goals, I just want to ensure that anyone coming behind me understands the importance of the role, understands the importance of leadership, of strategic thinking, and of listening. We talked about, community and communicating with the residents that you serve, communication and listening, not only to the residents, but to your board. It's just so important as we get ready to, raise up this new generation of leaders, of, policy makers. We want to ensure that they understand what it entails to be educated on these things, because, what we don't want to do is take it lightly that we're at the table. We don't want to make a mockery of being at the table. And the way that we do that is we educate ourselves so that we can reach back and we can educate those that are coming up behind us. Mm-hmm. And so my goal as I continue on in this role is just to ensure that I am educating everyone so that everyone feels comfortable enough to come to the table and to use their voice for change within their community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I agree. I do agree with Sarah Mayer Harrison. It really is about education, about the role, and knowing your community, knowing the issues in the community and how your community feels about issues. Scarborough has a very engaged community. It's also about knowing your colleagues, the dynamics with your colleagues. Nothing happens without that majority vote. In our roles as mayors, I mean, it would never be a case where we could say, hey, we want A to happen. Well, A was not going to happen without the votes of your colleagues. And I think building consensus on issues is important. And sometimes all of that doesn't happen in the council chambers. Sometimes it starts, when two of you are on the phone and you're just like, hey, how do you feel about it? And how do you want to work through these kinks, with this particular issue? But it's very broad, the role of the mayor. It's a broad role, and it takes some skin off. I'm not going to lie to you. It's heavy. It's it's a heavy role. I remember when we had a property tax increase. Property tax increase this year. We had been running revenue neutral for a while, and there's just comes a time when there's a need for more revenue, and it's never going to feel good. And it actually happened to coincide with the Orange County property reevaluation, and so it created some conversation around that. And I spent some time in emails with constituents, and having conversations, just kind of trying to explain the council's vote, for that property tax increase. And it wouldn't just be for that. That's just something that came to my mind. But I think it's also always important to be able to explain to constituents why you vote the way you vote.
Right.
And I think, folks would always want to hear that. So.
Yeah. Here's an interesting question, and it's from a soror. I recognize her name here. It says, she asks, as you are both political role models, who do you consider as your individual role models? That's a good one.
Soror Mayor in Carborough.
Soror Mayor and Zebulon. Yes, ma'am.
Simple. That was easy question there.
I mean, yeah. But I think I have several. And I have a very tight circle of mentors and folks that I go to when, I might need to talk through something or bring myself down from something, that may be happening. And I think it's important to have what I call trusted advisors, that you can, spend some time with and just kind of, work through. I will tell you one of them, and she does share my last name, is Congresswoman Valerie Fouché. A very she's one of my trusted advisors. We belong to the same church, and we talk sometimes about the world of politics, and there's a couple of more that I engage with periodically, but you just need the support. You can't walk this journey that I'm walking, and Sarah Mayer Harrison is walking, without prayer, without rest, drink your water, and have somebody to talk to. Always have, a circle of folks that understand your role, what you're going through, and that can listen to you and empathize, with whatever you're experiencing.
Yeah. Absolutely. That was great. I will say, in the grand realm of it all, Soror Mayer is definitely someone that I call on, I go to, because this is something that when you're in this field, you need someone that you can scream with, that understands, honestly, and laugh and share the wins with. My mentor, Representative Robertson, he was a former mayor in Knightdale, and my husband and I have coined him a nickname of the Mayor Maker, because he's also mentored Mayor Jessica Day in Knightdale, who I also call on. She's right, in the municipality one town over, and so it's just making sure that you have, and there's those on my board as well that I'm able to have good conversations with them, and they understand. That's the most important thing. So mentorship for me is just I have a cabinet of people that I pull from and that I hang on to, not just in the political world, but just in leadership in general. My pastors are incredible leaders. And so their mentorship in the way of strategic thoughts and leadership is something that I hold dear. My spiritual mentor, Stephanie, she's someone that I hold close, so there are so many so many pieces that you have to make sure you have someone like, okay, intercessors, I need you all, business owners, like, and so there's again like a cabinet of people that I know I can call on that provide not only mentorship, but they provide me like strategic think partners as well.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. I think that you know what I think? I think that sometimes people might not realize the weight of a job because you guys are in it for 2 years, and every 2 years you're running for reelection. I will tell you this one thing that I've noticed about here. I live in Durham. I think that Durham has grown too large to have every 2 year elections. I think that they need to be 4 years. It's
Ours is 4.
Huh?
My municipality is 4.
Yeah, Zebulon is 4.
Yeah.
What about yours, Mayor Fushi?
Oh, mine is 2.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And Durham's is only, look, Jessica, Durham's is only 2. Wow. 2 years, every 2 years. And it's much too short. It's the town. We are not a town. We are a city.
I think Raleigh is 2 years as well.
I know. And you know,
and
that's
Chapel Hill is as well. Chapel Hill too.
All of these areas have grown. I mean, and Raleigh, that's a sin and a shame. They have no business being 2 years, $1 million.
And Mary Kyle, I think she got to run every 2 years.
It doesn't. That has to stop. I think Durham and Raleigh they got to do 4, and including the city council. It's too much. It's just way too much. I think that when you get to a certain capacity, you gotta think differently. You gotta have it a little bit longer and bigger, and realize that you're no longer a town. And see, Sora Jessica, you're in a good position that you guys, you are truly a town. But the way y'all are growing, I did not know that GSK was out there.
Yes.
Wait, now don't tell me, did they leave RTP? They didn't leave RTP, did they?
GSK has been in Zebulon for a long time.
Okay, so maybe that
may be a different type.
Places. Okay.
There might be a couple of places for GSK.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I have really learned a lot about Zebulon. I'm gonna have to listen. The only time I was in Zebulon, it was late at night and I was lost. So
and she was scared and she was lost too. If you know that one, you know you saw her.
I don't want to know the story behind it. Move on.
I get lost. Listen. I am horrible with directions. Horrible, and I did get lost, and it was pitch black. You know, that's one thing about North Carolina. I tell you, they have got the NCDOT has got to do better. They got to do better with fluorescent paint and with reflectors or something.
They got to do better for Sarah Pam.
They got
to light it up, light the roads up.
They got to do better for all of us.
Oh boy.
All of us. Here's another question for you. What advice do you ladies have for people who feel hopeless and helpless at a time where our national politics feels so volatile?
Well, that's your cousin, Jessica. Sarah Mayer, that's your cousin.
So advice, I would say, use your voice. Use your voice. Right now, we're in a season of our voices need to be heard. Our voices need to, and the only way that we can really make them heard is if we do it together. We do it in unity. We do it in a way that's not, our goal, our aim is not to be aggressive, but our goal is to get things done that we need done for our communities. And so I think that in a climate where so many people are feeling hopeless and helpless, the key right now is to continue to use our voice for good and for the betterment of change. As my good brother, God rest his soul, passed away, good trouble.
John Lewis.
Good trouble. Let's get into some good trouble, because it's for the betterment of our lives, of our legacy, and of the generations to come. I feel strongly about just using our voices to advocate and help educate people on voting. Go vote.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Like, okay, I digress. Okay.
No, the vote. This is the reason why this platform even exists. It's for educating people on voting and all the other things, all of the things. So
Yeah.
you have to vote. We have to vote. Absolutely.
Yeah, understanding the importance that, y'all, I won my election by 38 votes. 38.
Wow.
It was a 5-person. We had 5 people that were running for mayor in the town of Zebulon. And I won by 38 votes. So for everyone that thinks, oh, my one vote does not count, it does. For you know, and that part is what is something that I just really want to continue to press that message. Your vote does in fact count. For someone that's sitting here that is now, and I'm grateful and humbled to now be a history maker by 38 points. And you know, and so I emphasize that so much because I want everyone to understand that voting, for me, like voting, this is our right. This is our right, and a right that people died so that we can have. Okay.
Yes.
And so exercising and educating people on what it means to go out and to vote is definitely one of the ways to do better right now.
You have to do better.
Primaries, local elections,
all
every
the
election is important.
All of the elections.
Every one of them.
Yeah, because one thing that we did learn in this whole era of MAGA, we learned how the school boards were being turned. We learned how all of the municipal elections were being flipped and politicized in the most bizarre ways of banning books and all types of things. So we have to pay attention to local, because all politics are local. They all are local, first and foremost. And we can't just get excited for when it's a presidential election, because the president does not determine when your trash gets picked up or how your sewer board works or any of those things, right? Any of those important things, really, on affordable housing locally and all of those things. So
yes, thank you for saying that. That is very true. Local elections, I tell people all the time, your local elections are more important. You know, that's just me because I'm a local elected official, but I'm like, yes, these are the people that pick up your trash, that have something to do with the water. Like these local elections are important.
Very.
Just as important, if not more, you know, and state and county, because sometimes these are the people that you are preparing to serve on the national level. So you got to get educated, and it's important to go out and to cast your votes. And I'm stepping off of my box now.
All right. Any final words, Mayor Fushi?
No, I would just follow up on what Sarah Mayor Harrison was saying about, educating the public and encouraging, folks to vote in every single election, vote at every level, vote every time there is an opportunity to vote. This is how we elect our leaders. I hope it's not likely to change, but you never know. But just get in the habit of voting. And this is a different season we're in. So I think, folks are tired, folks are feeling hopeless, as your cousin, Sarah Mayer, was saying in the question. But, I get up and do what I can every day. I probably rest more. I look a lot of times for things that pour back into me. I tell folks, I said, this will not be this way forever. If you can just wait it out, this too will pass, and we'll be turning, over another leaf. So I say that to people and try to keep folks encouraged. But I know it's hard. I know it's hard because it feels like the heavy foot is on us. you know, every day. But I also encourage folks to find some joy in your day.
You have
You find joy in life. You know, I watch a lot, you know, at night, I ball up in the bed, you know, I look at TV shows and laugh and till I go off to sleep. You know, I spend time with my sorors as much as possible. That's definitely a pour back, you know, all the time. Things that distract you, and don't watch the news all the time. You know, watch it enough, read about it just enough to know what's going on.
What's going on?
Move on to something else.
You have to. You have to.
And then look in your community for things to do to help people, because there's a lot of work in all of our communities. You know, where we can lend a hand and not be all stressed out about these things that are happening above our heads that'll pass away in time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, ladies, I have thoroughly enjoyed you. Chat, you guys have been great. You guys have been fantastic with all of your comments and good wishes and good questions and good information too. I'm likely to have Anderson back on, so maybe that question will come back up.
She'll tell you. I tell you that. If you ask her, she's gonna tell you exactly why she did.
She will. She absolutely will.
Yeah. No chaser. She just comes straight to the point. But I'm just so, and thank you, ladies, for being my first show of Black History Month. We have another soror that is actually running for education board, school board in Greensboro. Dr. Irish Spencer. Do you know Irish Spencer?
I don't know her.
She had a radio show called Wild Irish Rose.
What? Okay, Sarah.
It's Wild Irish Rose on North Carolina A&T's radio station. Yep, she sure is.
You know, these sorors, you know, they're creative now, you know. Look at her daughter. Hey.
So this is our future. Thank you guys so much for tonight, ladies.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, everyone. All right. Good night.
Take care.